I've shown you some examples where flash fill and text to columns can help you separate out your data. In most instances, that will be sufficient to get you what you want. But flash fill and text to columns also have some limitations, and so you might be forced to think outside the box and come up with more creative ways to separate out your data. In this section, I'm going to show you some key functions in order to do that. Keep in mind that these examples are fairly simple, and so you could probably use a flash fill on this information, but I'm going to show you these functions so that you could apply it to more complex data that you're trying to separate out. Here we've got a list of item numbers with a dash and then an item name. And so let's say we wanted to just find the item number. We can use the left function, which, as this little screenshot shows us, it returns a specified number of characters from the start of a text string. So the first thing we give it is our text, and then we indicate how many character numbers we want to return. In this case, our item numbers are all 4 characters long, so we'll type a 4 and hit enter, and then we can double-click the fill handle to fill that all out. Similarly, the right function will do the same thing, but it will return the rightmost characters. So let's say our data was flipped so that we had the item name first, followed by a dash, and then the item number. We can come in here, type right, and we want to return the rightmost 4 characters. And here we've got the D122 again. And we'll double click that and get our answers. Now let's look at using the find function in addition to the left function. So here we've got a similar data set, but now our item numbers aren't always 4 characters long. This one is 5 characters. This one is only 3. But our data is consistent in that the item number is followed immediately by a dash. So if we wanted to find the item number, we'd type equals left, select our text, and then because the number of characters is variable, we'll use a find function. What the find function does is it returns the starting point of a text string within another text string. So here, the find text is what we want to find. In our case, we want to find the character number for that dash. Within the text is where you want to find it. And then the start num is an optional item, so if you didn't want to start at the first character, you could specify that. But we want to start at the first character. And then if we hit enter, that's actually going to return the item number plus the dash. So we'll come in here and just subtract 1 from that character number. And now we're going to get the specific item number based on where that dash or hyphen was. Now let's look at the mid function. Again, we have our same data set and we've already filled out this left formula that we did before. But let's say we wanted to return the actual item name here. There are a couple ways to do this, but let's use the mid function right here. What the mid function does is it will return text from the middle of a text string. So first we select the text string that we're interested in this case, our cell A2 right here. And then we put in the start number or the starting character number for our string. In this case, right here, we're back to our original data set where the item number is always 4 characters long, followed by a hyphen. So if we wanted to return just the item name, we would actually start with the 6th character because you've got the 4 characters in the item number followed by a dash, and so the 6th character would start the item name. Press a comma, and then the last thing you need to give this function is the number of characters that you want to return. In this case, as you can see, the item name is variable. So this one is several characters long. This one is only a few characters. So here you could type a big number that you know won't be exceeded. So we don't have any item names that are longer than 1,000. So this returned our item name. We can double click that, and now we've got our item name right there. Another thing you can do for the number of characters is you can do the len function, which returns the number of characters in a text string. So select that, and then we know it won't go over that either. Now let's take this to the next level and use a mid function with the find just to get a little bit more practice. So again, this is another example of our data set where the item number is not actually always 4 characters long. So here we'll type equals mid. This is our text. The start number, we're going to use the find function again, and we're going to find that hyphen within cell E2. And we're going to add a 1 to that because we want to start with the character that is after the hyphen. And then we'll just type 1,000 again. And now we have that same item name. So things can get a little hairy with these functions. And I have spent a lot of time with these functions trying to separate out some data. This often requires a lot of trial and error, but knowing these basic functions can really help you out when you're trying to extract data and flash fill or text to columns won't work.